The 2004 Miryang middle school girl group sexual assault case has been brought back into the spotlight after 20 years by a Korean YouTuber, sparking a wave of public backlash. The case is one of the most disturbing in Korea, as the victim was a middle school girl at the time who was sexually assaulted by 44 high school boys over the course of a year. The boys eventually got off without punishment, and the girl ended up not being able to go to school because schools would not accept a sexual assault victim, so she just lived a tragic life afterwards. I covered this case before, but I'll give you a detailed explanation again on what happened for those who have not watched my previous video about the case, so don't worry. A couple of days ago, this Korean YouTuber announced he was going to reveal the identities of all 44 perpetrators. He said he had directly communicated with the victims' families via email and had gotten their permission. As the real names and workplaces of the perpetrators were revealed, netizens flooded their workplace websites and Instagram accounts accusing them. Some of the perpetrators were fired from their jobs, and some businesses temporarily closed. Before we dive into this shocking reveal, let's take a moment to go back 20 years and talk about the case to understand why this identity leak is such a big deal to Koreans. The victim, only known by her surname Choi, was born and raised in Ulsan. She had a younger sister and a younger brother and grew up in a very underprivileged household. Her father was an alcoholic and abusive, beating her mother every single day. So, unable to endure this any longer, her mother divorced him in January 2003, a year before the incident, and moved out of the house. After the divorce, the father's abuse was directed at his eldest daughter, Choi. The verbal abuse and physical assaults were relentless. He was incompetent and drank every day, turning Choi's life into a constant nightmare. She was unable to confide in anyone about her suffering. In January 2004, Choi met Park through an internet chat. Park, who was then 18 years old, convinced her to come to Miryang, about an hour from Ulsan. He was part of a youth gang in the Miryang area, infamous for assaulting fellow students and stealing money from them. Once there, he beat her with an iron pipe and took the unconscious girl to a motel where he and 12 fellow teenage gang members sexually assaulted her. They took turns assaulting her, sometimes with each boy assaulting her 7 to 10 times, dragging her to motels, playgrounds, dormitories, tennis courts, and other places. These boys went to shocking lengths, even using various objects, including sexual devices, to torture the girl during the assaults. This later resulted in her developing serious gynecological complications that required prolonged treatment. They even filmed the assaults with cell phones and camcorders, threatening to post the footage online if she told anyone. She was terrified and ashamed, so she felt she had no choice but to stay silent. It is known that other girl students, including their girlfriends, also joined the assault and helped the boys film the act. Unfortunately, the footage has been leaked online, even though that was the last thing the victim ever wanted and tried to prevent at all costs. Their crimes didn't stop with Choi. They also lured her 13-year-old younger sister and 16-year-old older cousin to Miryang, assaulted them, and stole their gold rings and money. So for about a year, Choi was trapped in a nightmare, enduring abuse from the boys outside and her father at home. She couldn't tell her father about what was happening, obviously, fearing public shame and further violence. So she kept everything to herself. Finally, when Choi's aunt noticed she was acting strange and looking unstable, she convinced her to talk about what was going on. It was only then that Choi opened up about the horrific things she had been through. Her aunt immediately told Choi's mother, who called the police on November 25th, 2004, at around 8 p.m. The police assured her that Che's identity would be strictly protected. A detective from the Ulsan Namdong police station who responded to the call also promised confidentiality. And now you'll hear about how the entire system, the police, her family, everyone who was supposed to help her, completely failed her. The police's promises to protect her identity turned out to be empty. Initially, they conducted their investigation in secret. But on December 6, 12 days after the report was filed, they carried out a mass arrest of the perpetrators and made this public. A total of 44 individuals were taken to Ulsan Nambu police station from various PC rooms and libraries in Changwon, Miryang, Ulsan, and other locations. Among them, 35 were students attending high schools in Miryang. And during the investigation, a report containing the actual surname, age, and residential area of the sexual assault victim was leaked. After arresting the perpetrators, the police issued a press release to the media. The police investigation was a mess, to say the very least. They promised the victim she'd be interviewed by female officers, but that never happened. Instead, the victim had to go through the pain of explaining her ordeal to male officers. And to make things worse, the investigators made horrible remarks to the victim, like, "Didn't you enjoy it? And go looking for it yourself." And one officer said, "I'm from Miryang and you've ruined my hometown's reputation." And I hope that was all, but there's more. The police even made the victim face the 44 perpetrators one-on-one. Each day, the victim had to remember and recount specific details, like who assaulted her on the first day, and what exactly did they do to her, for how long, and who did it on the second day, and so on. All this in front of a male officer and the boys. Can you even imagine having to face the people, the boys who assaulted you and you're terrified of, being scolded by the police to remember the smallest details or risk proving nothing, and enduring the disdainful looks on their faces? All this while you are the victim and you're the one who should be protected. The perpetrators would look her in the eye and say, "When did I ever sexually assault you?" She was overwhelmed by their blatant lies, and she just broke down in tears. And during the investigation, the victims, yes, there were more than one. Actually, there were 5 victims in total. They were summoned 9 times, and each time they had to give statements for 7 to 8 hours. Throughout this process, they were also threatened by the perpetrators and their parents, who said things like, "We will never leave you alone. Let's see how you live well after ruining my son's life." Another shocking detail that shows how the victims were perceived by the police at the time is that the investigating officers further harassed them when they visited this karaoke bar that had hostesses. At the karaoke bar, they made degrading remarks about the middle school victim, Che, as if it was some funny joke, mentioning her by her name and telling one of the hostesses that she looked like her. And they said she looked disgusting and made them lose their appetite. Yes, that's what the police officer said. And now we understand why this case has been so mishandled, because even the police didn't care about the victim. A hostess who was there told the victim's family about what happened and what he said, which caused a huge public outcry. Civic and women's groups protested, and the police ended up disbanding the original investigation team of 4 officers and put together a new team with female officers. But as public anger grew, the prosecution stepped in and set up a special investigation unit. Chang Young, a reporter from Changwon MBC who covered the story, explained that shortly after the incident, the police were up for promotions and seemed really eager to blow up the case to show results. Che and her sister couldn't live in that area anymore because their identities were exposed. In January 2005, the victims and their mother moved to Seoul, where they were admitted to Yonsei Severance Hospital for treatment. The victim's condition was extremely bad, both mentally and physically. Her doctor said she'd been neglected for a long time, and after the sexual assault, she developed serious complications. She suffered from severe depression and a lack of affection. She also had a lot of resentment towards her mom, who had left her after her parents' divorce. The doctor remembered her often crying during treatment, saying she just wanted to die. She was discharged after about a month of psychiatric treatment, but she frequently tried to take her own life, like threatening to jump in front of a subway train. Her family was worried about her extreme behavior, so they forcibly admitted her to a closed psychiatric ward. And during this time, her dad and relatives from her dad's side of the family visited her because they cared about her, because they were worried. No, they pressured her to settle with the perpetrators because the perpetrators' families had offered her dad money for a settlement. The victim, who wanted to get out of that hospital so bad, was manipulated by her dad. And legally, there was no way to stop her father's guardianship. In the end, she followed her dad's lead, wrote a settlement agreement and a petition asking for leniency for the perpetrators. Her dad received 50 million won in settlement money. He used 15 million won to rent a house on the outskirts of Ulsan and split the rest with relatives. The victim and her sister didn't get a single penny. And as you may have guessed, the settlement and the petition ended up significantly reducing the perpetrator's sentences. The victim later regretted agreeing to it, but by then it was too late. With some persuasion from the Sexual Violence Counseling Center, her father agreed to transfer custody of the sisters to their biological mother. The family was split up. The sisters lived with their mother in Seoul, while their younger brother stayed with the father in Ulsan. In Seoul, they had to live in a rented room and get by on welfare assistance. And then the sisters faced another devastating blow. They got news that their father had died from alcohol-related issues during the perpetrator's sentencing trial. Well, personally, after what he had done to her, I honestly don't feel too bad for him. But anyways, yeah. The victim and her sister, along with their mother, sued the state over the police's humiliating investigation. On March 18th, 2007, the Seoul High Court ruled that the state had to pay 30 million won to Choi, 10 million won to her sister, and 10 million won to their mother. The Supreme Court upheld this decision on June 16th, 2008. Sadly, the victim never finished high school. In April 2005, she and her mother looked for a new school, but they were turned down everywhere because of the scandal. After a lot of pleading by her lawyers, she finally got into a public high school in Seoul, but only after visiting around 10 schools. And then something unexpected happened. The parents of one of the perpetrators showed up at her new school, asking her to write a petition for their son in juvenile detention. When she saw the mother of the perpetrator, she was terrified, and she hid in the bathroom. The mother followed her, making a scene, and she ended up dropping out of school. Her lawyer Kang Ji-won mentioned that after dropping out of school, she didn't have much to do. She spent a lot of time on the computer, stayed in PC rooms, and worked various part-time jobs. At times, she gained a lot of weight because of binge eating and couldn't hold a steady job, just moving from one part-time gig to another. In total, 44 students were directly involved in the sexual assault of the middle school girl in Miryang. Prosecutors have only charged 10 of them. Of the remaining 34, 20 were sent to the juvenile department, and 13 were released as not guilty because they had settled with the victim or were not included in the complaint. One was sent to another office because he was involved in another case. In April 2005, the Ulsan District Court decided to send all 10 indicted individuals to the Juvenile Detention Center, so no one has been criminally prosecuted in this case. They all completed their legal punishment without leaving any criminal record. For the students sent to the Juvenile Detention Center, the prosecution argued that the assault or intimidation wasn't severe enough to prevent the victim from resisting and that there was insufficient evidence. So the case concluded like that, leaving many seething with anger and disbelief. And now, 20 years later, a YouTuber who has been meticulously gathering information on the perpetrators has people reflecting that what goes around comes around, and that there truly are no secrets in life. The controversy started on June 1st this year, so that's a couple of days ago, when a YouTube channel named Narak Archive uploaded a video titled Miryang Sexual Assault Ringleader, and his name, Did You Think I Wouldn't Find You? The YouTuber began revealing the current whereabouts of the perpetrators involved in the Miryang sexual assault case from 20 years ago. In one video, it was disclosed that a man surnamed Pak, a ringleader of the incident now in his 30s, was working at a popular restaurant in Cheongdo County run by his relative. The video also mentioned that celebrity chef Baek Jong-won had featured this restaurant as a must-visit place. The YouTuber claimed that the restaurant was raking in money and was trying to downplay Pak's role by saying he was just a part-timer. Pak reportedly filed a complaint about the video, citing invasion of privacy. Despite this, the restaurant received numerous one-star reviews, which is like a death sentence for restaurant owners, causing significant damage to the business. A restaurant representative expressed frustration, saying that while it's true his father hired Pak, they themselves had nothing to do with the crime. And also, it was revealed that the restaurant was operating in an illegally constructed building, leading to a corrective order from Cheongdo County. The restaurant has since closed temporarily, posting a notice that read, "As of June 3rd, 2024, we are temporarily closed for expansion and relocation." According to the video, since the incident, the main perpetrator Pak changed his name and has been living comfortably with his family. Pak is currently married and raising a daughter. On his account, he had posted messages expressing his affection for his daughter, saying things like, "I will remove all the obstacles in your life and be the most reliable father, and live your life spending the money I earn for you. Exercise, take care of yourself, and rely on your dad. That's all I want for you." Ironic, isn't it? His account has been deleted ever since the reveal. The incident also brought renewed attention to a woman surnamed Hwang, a current police sergeant who, during the time of the incident, had posted messages defending the perpetrators online. Hwang passed the police officer exam in 2010 and has been working in the Gyeongnam area. In 2012, Hwang issued an apology. It was also revealed that after becoming a police officer, Hwang changed her name and started a family. Netizens criticized Hwang's past actions and demanded a response from the police station. They left comments like, "Does this police station promote people who defend criminals?" And Is this where people with a criminal past and a new name can become police officers? Great disguise skills, really commendable. Just 2 days after revealing Pak's identity, on June 3rd, the YouTube channel Narak Archive released information about another alleged perpetrator, Shin, a man in his 30s. According to the video, Shin works at a foreign car showroom in Gimhae, Gyeongnam, owns 3 luxury cars, and enjoys a lavish lifestyle, including golfing on weekends. Shin had also posted a photo of a middle-aged woman on Instagram with the caption, "My beloved mother, I'll make sure you live happily forever." Shin's Instagram account disappeared quickly, but netizens found his blog and flooded it with negative comments. Like with Park and Hwang, the Volvo car showroom where Shin worked faced numerous complaints. The showroom's portal site received a flood of one-star reviews, and its Instagram account was bombarded with hateful comments. So on June 4th, the showroom issued an official statement saying they take the matter very seriously and have terminated the employee involved. And according to the YouTuber, the remaining perpetrators are tipping off each other about each other's crimes and identities to prevent their identities from spreading. But there are also concerns about this kind of vigilante justice. Some people are saying that distrust in the judicial system doesn't justify private retaliation, and that revealing personal information is legal, comparing it to a witch hunt. There was also concern about the possibility of innocent people being wrongly targeted and suffer from this. Even more troubling is that after the video was uploaded, the personal information of the perpetrators' wives, families, and siblings was also exposed. This has led to unintended victims, with ordinary people expressing distress over their unexpected involvement. As I mentioned before, the YouTube channel Narak Archive has posted a notice stating, "I have already communicated with the victims' families via email, and we have decided to disclose all 44 perpetrators." But in an interview with a Korean news outlet, the Korean Sexual Violence Counseling Center stated that the victim's side was not asked for consent or consulted prior to the YouTube channel's disclosure of the perpetrators' identities. They were unaware of this until the video was posted. They reported that the victims requested the video to be taken down on June 3rd, but haven't received a response. According to the organization, the victims also expressed their dismay and concern over the unilateral vigilante justice being carried out without respecting their wishes. They felt that attacking the perpetrators without prior consent and causing social outrage amounts to private revenge and secondary victimization. The YouTube channel Narak Archive added to the controversy by disclosing a person who was rumored to be the current girlfriend of Shin, the main perpetrator who assaulted the Miryang victim with a metal pipe. So internet users also started to target this woman, surnamed Chung, the owner of a nail salon in Miryang, leading to malicious attacks on the salon and severe damage. When Shin's identity was revealed, netizens launched cyber attacks on the innocent woman's blog, Instagram, and contact details. But Chung issued a statement online to clear her name, saying, "I am being subjected to a witch hunt. I'm making this statement because my acquaintances and business are suffering." She clarified that she is not Shin's girlfriend. She also said that she planned to file a petition with the police and take legal action. Experts suggest that people are supporting these acts of private retribution, such as revealing the perpetrator's personal information online, because they feel that the judicial system completely failed the victims. These actions have clear legal problems, such as violating privacy laws and potentially causing defamation. Because these public disclosures seem to have a stronger impact than formal legal punishments, the issue is likely to continue getting a lot of attention. And before we close this chapter, many of you might be wondering how Che is doing now. I wish I could tell you that she, now in her 30s, has spent the past 20 years on a path of recovery, supported by many, but unfortunately the reality is far from this. The YouTuber doesn't go into detail about her current state, but after speaking with her family, he felt compelled to reveal the identities of the perpetrators because her life remains shattered compared to theirs. Even now, she is grappling with depression, anxiety, anorexia, and bulimia, and is struggling to make ends meet through temporary jobs. Meanwhile, the perpetrators are living in luxury. Though hard to verify, an online user claiming to know the perpetrators mentioned that these former youth gang members still meet regularly and talk about the victim as if what they did was some kind of achievement or a fond memory of the past. This heartbreaking contrast between their carefree lives and her ongoing suffering is so painful to even imagine. I find myself torn about the public revealing of the perpetrators' identities. While it can bring a sense of justice, it also raises ethical concerns and potential harm to unintended parties. My foremost hope is for Tre's well-being and for her to find the support she needs to heal. This case reminds us of the crucial need for comprehensive social support in cases of sexual violence. Korea has changed a lot since the incident, and I would like to believe that sexual violence victims are no longer treated the way Tre was. But we must continue to push for a society where victims are heard, protected, and supported throughout their recovery journey, ensuring that justice is served without causing further harm. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.